अभी तो रुक जाना। आशीष सर, गुड मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर, गुड मॉर्निंग
सर। कैसे हैं
बढ़िया
सर?
सर, आप बताएं।
बस सर बढ़िया है सर। सर स्टार्ट कर लें?
यस श्योर।
यस सर, ओके।
Good morning, sir. In today's faculty development program, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Ashish Kumar Morrison. Dr. Ashish Kumar Morrison is an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science Engineering in Manet, Allahabad. He has done his PhD from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIT Varanasi. His experienced work is mainly oriented in field of parallel distributed computing, cloud computing, design and analysis algorithms, and Internet of Things. He has many publications, international and national journals of repute. It is my pleasure, sir, to invite such an eminent personality, Dr. Ashish Kumar, sir. Please welcome and start to this session of FDP.
Thank you, madam, and thank you, sir, for inviting me for this talk. So I am sharing my presentation. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Is it visible?
Okay, fine. So today, as mentioned, I will discuss some topics related to blockchain. So these topics are basically related to consensus problem that is a very well-known problem in the distributed systems, and that is also equally applicable to the blockchain technology. So the topics that we will discuss today, that are basically Byzantine generals problem, and then we will discuss some one solution for that, that is given by Lamport, Sostik and Pease. Then we will discuss Paxos, some ideas of Paxos, and then we will discuss the Raft consensus algorithm. So let's start. So you are very familiar with this topic, blockchain, because the workshop is going on this topic, I think. So blockchain is basically based on the peer-to-peer topology, and it is a distributed ledger. So you know much about this, so we will not discuss in depth on this topic, blockchain. So we will directly come to the consensus problem that is that has very wide application in the blockchain technology, because in the blockchain, when you store the information, it is basically stored in the form of blocks. So and it is verified all the we can say the peers and the nodes that are in the blockchain. So whenever a block is supposed to be inserted into the blockchain, so in that case, which node has to insert that block? So for that purpose, the nodes should have some agreement, and they have some consensus that this particular block, this particular node should insert this particular block, this new block. Okay, so it means for that purpose we need consensus. So we have some protocols for that, as like I think you have already gone through about that, POW, POS, proof of work and proof of stake. There are many more than that, so that are basically used for the consensus purpose. So suppose if there is a new block that is going to add in the blockchain, so in the proof of work, some computations are basically made by the node that are in the blockchains. So what they do, they solve some puzzles, cryptographic puzzles, and the node that which solves that cryptographic puzzles in an efficient and in a very short time, that has allowed to add the this newly created block into the blockchain. And in the POS, that is basically proof of stake, so in which the node has to basically deposit some money, and after that they can add the block. So it is basically showing that this node has some stake on that block, and they can add that. So as like we have POW, POS, we have different types of concepts in the blockchain. So we are extending that, and we have some more distributed algorithms that we use in the blockchain. So first, let's start with some examples, so that we can understand that what is the meaning of consensus. So in the distributed systems, we have a very well-known example, that is the leader election. So whenever we have some number of processes or processors, we can say, in the network, and they have to coordinate their actions among themselves to perform a particular task. So in that case, they have to make some agreement among each other, and for coordinating the activities, they have to elect the leader among themselves. So for that purpose, they execute some leader election algorithm. So that leader election algorithm cannot be successfully executed without some agreement protocols. So here any node can be the leader. So according to the algorithm, who wins the election or who wins become as the leader, we can say. So any of the process may be the leader for that purpose, and they will coordinate the actions in the distributed system. So this is one of the example of the consensus. Then there may be the transactions in the banking system. Suppose a person wants to transfer some, suppose rupees 1,000 from their saving accounts in a from a bank that is located at, suppose, a particular city, that is A, And suppose whenever he's transferring that money from that account to another account, so it involves some debit and credit transactions, debit and credit operations, we can say. And in that case, if suppose any failures will occur, so it means the transactions must be atomic. So if debit operation takes place from one account, so in that case the credit operation should also be takes place and on another account. If any mishappening is there or any failure is there, so the transactions will be rolled back in that case. So it means either, so it means they have to decide that whether to commit or to abort the transaction is basically performed by some agreement protocols, we can say, in the distributed systems, in the banking systems. So this is one of the example of consensus. Then there may be possibility that we have some example in which we have a furnace, and in that furnace we have suppose 5 independent sensors, and these sensors are basically measuring some temperature T of a furnace. And suppose the temperature of the furnace should be greater than 1000 degrees centigrade. So suppose if some sensor is faulty, so in that case it will not reflect that accurate amount of the temperature. So it means they have to make some consensus among the sensors that the truth value of the temperature that is being sensed by the sensor should be reflected as a final value. Okay, so these are basically some examples of the consensus. So as like in the blockchain, we also have this concept, because whenever we are going to insert some values in the block, that some digital information, so that digital information should be verified, or it should be make some agreement that every node should be informed about that, and they should agree about that this particular information is going to insert, and this particular block is going to insert at the last of this chain, and this will be performed by this particular node. So all this consensus will take place in the blockchain. So now what is this consensus problem here? So here a blockchain consists, a blockchain system, if you talk about the blockchain system, it has a many number of nodes, or we can say many number of sites. So we are assuming that we have n number of nodes or sites, and in which m sites or nodes are faulty. Okay, so it means they will not behave in the correct manner as they are assumed to be behaved. So, and here we are assuming some model as a like that the sites can directly communicate with each other by message passing. Okay, so here we are also assuming that they are basically logically fully connected. If it means they are communicating with each other by message passing, so every site or every node can communicate with each other. Then a receiver site knows the identity of the sender site of the message, and the communication network is reliable, and only sites are prone to failures. So here we are assuming that in this problem that communication medium is reliable. Okay, so it means whatever message will be delivered will be created or will be intended to send will be delivered without any error. Okay, so we are assuming only that only sites or only the nodes can be behaved in a faulty manner. Okay, so these are the assumptions that we take when we deal with this problem, consensus problem. So now here every site has an initial value in a mutually agreed domain. So it means there is some initial value that every site has. So whenever they have to make some consensus, they have to make some agreement, they have to agree some common value. Okay, so this common value will be the value that is initiated by one of the node in that blockchain system. So despite occurrence of the failures, every sites eventually agree upon an irrecoverable final decision value that satisfies the following 3 conditions. So what are 3 conditions? These are the conditions that is written here. One is the termination, then agreement, then validity. The termination means that every non-faulty node must eventually decide. Then in the agreement means the final decision of every non-faulty node must be identical. And in the validity condition, if every non-faulty node begins with the same initial value, say that is V, then their final decision must be V. So these are the three conditions that has to be satisfied. Okay, so this is the consensus problem. How we can define it? Then consensus problem for suppose when we are dealing with this, so we have two types of systems. One is the asynchronous system and another is the synchronous system. So in the synchronous systems, when we talk about the system, the nodes are basically we can say behaves in a synchronous manner. Okay, so it means they have some timer is there, some clock is there, so they have to operate in that manner. That it means suppose there is a round. Suppose one side or one node is sending some message to another. So at some particular time, another node is receiving that message. So after that completion of the time, another process or another node begins their execution. And in the asynchronous systems, we can say the processors or the nodes that is on the system does not proceed in the way that in the performed in the synchronous systems. Okay, so here for the asynchronous systems, this asynchronous problem is basically not solvable. If we are assuming that the system is purely asynchronous, so it is not solvable into that. But if we make some assumptions into that, so it can be solvable up to some extent. So and for the synchronous system, it is a solvable problem. So we will discuss this synchronous system later. So here before starting this consensus problem for synchronous or asynchronous system, we have to take care about some terms, that is faults, that we have some different types of faults in the system. When we deal, because to deal this consensus problem, whenever there is no any faulty node is there, so we have no any problem about that. So they have to agree on some value. But this consensus problem is interesting in that term, that whenever we have some faulty nodes or some faulty sites are there, then it has some interesting aspects that how they have to make some consensus. So here we have some types of faults are there. So we have many types of different types of failures that the system, that the site may fail here. So we have mainly three types of fault. One is the crash fault, then we have omission fault, then we have malicious fault. So this if you talk about this crash fault, this in the crash fault, a node stops functioning. Okay, and it never assumes operation. It means we assume that the sites are crashed. Okay, so in the crash fault, we assume that the site is crashed, and it will never resume the operations. Okay, so it will stop functioning and it will never resume the operations. Then in the omission fault, a node omits to send messages to some nodes. Suppose that particular node is assigned a work that it has to broadcast the message to some nodes. So, but suppose it is not doing that work. It is instead of broadcasting the message, it is only sending the message to some of the nodes into the system. So it means it is omitting the operations that is intended for. Okay, so that fault is basically known as the omission fault. Then we have malicious fault. So in the malicious fault, a node behaves randomly and arbitrarily. So, for example, a node may send fictitious message to other nodes to confuse them. Okay. Suppose you have a system, and in which suppose a node A sends some value to node B. Okay, and node B suppose is the malicious node, so it will not forward that value to next nodes in the system. So it may forward some forced value, okay, to the next nodes into the system. So it means they will not behave in the manner that they are intended for. Okay. So here this malicious fault is basically known as the Byzantine faults. So in the synchronous system, we have some problem that is related that is known as the Byzantine generals problem. So that is based on this malicious faults, or we can say the malicious failure. So to deal with this malicious fault, we have Byzantine fault tolerance system for that. So in the Byzantine fault tolerance system, we build the system in such a way that if there are certain number of nodes that are behaving in the malicious way, so the system can be execute in a manner that these malicious or the non-faulty nodes should not affect on that whole system. Okay, so we have to first discuss about that how these systems work and how we can deal with this types of failure when this occur into the system. Now, apart from this, we have two types of messages. One is the signed message and another is the oral message. So whenever we talk about this signed message, this signed message is basically we can say this it is sent into the some authenticated message system. When we have some authenticated message system, so it will be used. So the signed message is a message in which the faulty node cannot force the message, okay, or it cannot change the contents that is inside into the message. Okay, so that message is basically known as the signed message here, or it is also known as the authenticated message. Then there is the oral message. So the oral message is generally used in the non-authenticated message systems. So the oral message, the faulty nodes can force the message and claim to have received it from another nodes, or it can also change the contents of the received message before it has to deliver that message to another node. Okay, so it means the oral messages can be forced and the signed messages can not be forced here. So we have two types of messages. So we will discuss about. We will use these terms here. So on the basis of malicious fault here, this fault is basically known as the Byzantine fault also. So to deal with this fault, we have Byzantine fault tolerance system, and in that we have some problems, that is Byzantine general problems, and to solve that problem, the Lamport, Sostik and Pease have given algorithms for that solution for that problem. So we will discuss about that. Now to discuss before Byzantine general problem, we have to discuss about this two generals problem. So here you can see in the picture, you have in the picture we have one side that is A, another side that is B, and one side that is C. So here C is the enemy side, and A and B are basically the cooperating sides, we can say, and they belong to the same army, we can say, these A and B, but they are located on different locations. Okay, and between that there is a enemy side C is there, and there are many rivers, mountains and forests are there between them. So this is the scenario of the two general problems. So in this two generals problem, they have to whenever they have to attack on this side C, they have to coordinate between each other. A and B has to coordinate among each other whenever they have to attack on C, because if either A will attack alone or either B will attack alone, they may be defeated. Okay, or and if they will attack together, they had chance to win here. So to attack on the C, they have to basically coordinate their messages here. Okay, so here the assumption is that they are basically using the messenger for the coordination purpose. Okay, so they don't have any other medium to coordinate. They have only messenger, and through messenger they can communicate their messages to each other. Okay, so here messenger can take the message of A and go to B and give the message to B, and here the messenger from B, it can take the message from B and go to the A. So suppose A is communicating with B to decide if both of them can attack together, because alone the either A or either B cannot defeat the enemy here. So suppose A is sending a message that if they attack, then it will be a victory. So here there are some sequence of messages that they have to exchange. So scenario is very simple, that two armies are there in the separate valley and want to attack on the sea that is in the valley between them. So they have to decide whether attack tomorrow or not. Okay, so here this is the scenario. You can see here that if suppose A wants to attack here, and A is sending some message through this messenger to the B, and he is saying that if you respond, I will attack. Okay, so here he is sending the message to the B that I want to attack, but if you will respond, I will attack. So here B knows that A will attack tomorrow and B also wants to attack. So it has to respond, because A has sent the message that if you respond, then I will attack. So here B knows that because he got the message from A, so B knows that A will attack tomorrow, and he also wants to attack. So B has to send the message to A here. So B is also responding that if you will respond, I will attack, because he wants some acknowledgement that if A will respond, then I will attack. So here A knows that A will attack and B will attack. Okay, so because he sent the message that if you respond, I will attack. So A will send the message that we will attack. So here B knows the information that A will attack and B will attack. But here there is a possibility that the messages can be forced. So whenever suppose A is getting this message from B, if you respond, I will attack. So A is not sure about that this message is sent via B, or it is the message sent through the messenger. So it is sending again a respond message here. So it is a not ending process here, because A and B are not sure about that whether A will attack or he is sending the response. So the B or A has to rely on that message or not. So for this scenario, for the two generals problem, they are not basically on the conclusion that whether they have to attack or not. So this so it demonstrates that even with non-faulty processors, so in this scenario that we are discussing, A and B are suppose they are non-faulty, sites. Okay, so in that case this is not basically giving the solution here. Okay, so here agreement between two processes is not possible with unreliable communication channel. So that's why we are assuming here that the communication channel should be reliable, because here A and B we are assuming that they are non-faulty, or they are not malicious here, or they are not Byzantine faulty nodes. Okay, so here if they are non-faulty and B is also non-faulty, but the communication medium is suppose intended to prone, so here it means if message can be forced, then even we have two non-faulty sites are there. So they cannot come onto the conclusion that whether they have to agree on some consensus or not. Okay. So due to this unreliable communication channel, even for the two nodes, it is not possible to work on the same value or some agreement here. Okay, so that's why the assumption is that the communication channel should be reliable here. Okay, so we are assuming that only that this A and B in the further example we will assume. So in the consensus problem we are assuming that these nodes or the sites are basically non-faulty, non-faulty or faulty. They may be both faulty or non-faulty, but the communication medium should be the reliable. If A is, suppose it is a non-fault, it is a faulty node, so if it is sending any message to B, either attack or either retrieve, so the message that is A is sending to B, it should be reached to B, and it should be not forced in between. So this is the assumption here. So even 2RV problem is not solvable if the communication medium is unreliable, we can say here. Now take the Byzantine general problem here. So here reliable blockchain system must handle malfunctioning sites that give conflicting information to different parts of the system. So whenever we talk about this blockchain, so the chains involved in the blockchains, the blocks that involved in the blockchains are basically store some digital information. Okay, and this block is available on all the sites who are maintaining this blockchain system. So suppose if we have 10 number of sites that are involved in the blockchain, so all the 10 sites will have these blocks. If any modification will occur or suppose if any block will be added to that blockchain, so that information or that block will be added in all the peers. Okay, so that's why it is more secure than centralized database system, we can say. So for here the reliable blockchain system, if suppose any intruder or any hacker wants to hack this blockchain, or intruder want to suppose insert some malicious information or want to add some malicious block into that, so it easily cannot do that thing, because if it has to add some malicious block into that blockchain, it has to add on all the sites that are maintaining that blockchain. Okay, so here the reliable blockchain system must handle malfunctioning sites and that give conflicting information to different parts of the system. So this blockchain system should handle these types of conflicting information if it is there. So this situation can be expressed abstractly in terms of a group of generals of the Byzantine army camped with their troops around an enemy city. So here we can think about the problem. In the previous problem we have two generals problem, we have only two sides. Okay, two sides of the army, and where the generals have to communicate with each other to synchronize their message and come on to a common plan of action. So here in the Byzantine general problem, you can think that system into the extended way, that suppose there is a several divisions of the Byzantine army are there, and they are camped outside the enemy city. Okay, and they are outside the enemy city, and each division is basically commanded by its own general. So we are assuming that every division that are located on the different sites around the enemy city, they are basically commanded by the generals, and these generals can communicate with one another only by messenger, that we were considering in the previous case also. So after observing the enemy, they must decide upon a common plan of action. So some of the generals may be traitor here, okay, and some of the general obviously they are reliable or the loyal generals. So even they have some we can say the traitors generals are there, but they have to reach on some agreement, okay, that whether they have to attack on the city or they have to retreat, okay. So they have to come on some consensus. So the generals must have an algorithm to guarantee that there are two things, that all loyal generals decide upon the same plan of action, and a small number of traitors cannot cause the loyal generals to adopt a bad plan. So these are two things that should be guaranteed whenever the generals are executing this algorithm to solve this problem, that they have to come on some common action of common plan of action. Okay, even some traitors are there. So one is that all loyal generals decide upon the same plan of action, and a small number of traitors cannot cause the loyal generals to adopt a bad plan. So these are two things that should be guaranteed into the solution whenever we are maintaining, we are solving this problem. So these two things must be guaranteed. So the loyal generals will all do what the algorithm says they should, because they are loyal. So, but the traitors generals can do anything that they want because they are not loyal here. So the algorithm must guarantee the first condition that we have discussed, that all loyal generals decide upon the same plan of action. Okay, whatever the traitors are doing, but they have to guarantee the first thing, and the loyal generals should not only reach agreement but should agree upon a reasonable plan as well here. So the problem is to devise a strategy by which every loyal general eventually agrees upon the same plan regardless of the action of the traitors. So assuming here the system is synchronous. Synchronous means here we are also assuming that the computation speeds have a known lower bound and the channels delays have a known upper bound. It means that the absence of matches can be detected using the timeouts. Okay, so here this Byzantine general problem, when we solve this, so it tells that how many Byzantine node failures can a system survive. So whenever we have suppose n number of suppose sites or nodes are there, so by this problem we can know that if this particular numbers are nodes are basically suppose fails, so the system can survive. So we can know this answer from this Byzantine general problem here. Okay, so now first thing, the solution with no traitor. Suppose we are solving this problem and we are assuming that there is no traitor is there. Okay, all generals are loyal generals, we are assuming here. So in the absence of any traitor, every general sends his input, either it is attack or retreat, to every other general. Okay, and here the inputs need not be the same, because some generals may agree on attack or some generals may agree on retreat. So here it is not always possible that every general is giving the same input. Okay, so it is not always necessary here. So these inputs need not to be the same. So here the principle of reaching agreement when we have no traitors is that every loyal general eventually collects the identical bag S of orders and applies the same choice function on S, okay, to decide the final strategy. So this is the solution for this problem when we have no traitors. Okay, so it means every journal will receive that identical bag of S. Suppose if we have 4 journals, okay, and suppose or suppose for example we have 5 journals, and if these journals are sending the information to each other, so either they are sending attack or they are sending retreat as their input. So every journal will have their input. So it means this bag S of orders. So this copy of orders. So it means all the journals have the same copy of this S. Okay. So on the basis of that S, they can decide whether they can attack or they have to retreat. Okay. Now, solution with traitors. So now we are assuming that we have some traitors here. So for that purpose, we have some interactive consistency criteria is there. So now we are assuming that some journals can be traitors here. So when a loyal commander broadcasts his order to the lieutenants, okay, so here we are giving some role to the commander when he broadcasts. So the role, he is in the role of lieutenant, okay, and when he receives an order from the general, so it is in the role of commander. Okay, so here when a loyal commander broadcasts his order to the lieutenants, every loyal lieutenant receives the same order that we have already talked. So but suppose if some traitors are there, so they can modify their we can say the value. If suppose the general is giving the information that he want to attack, but if this information is going to the traitor, so so the traitor may change that value. It means if the value is attacked, so it may send the retreat value or it may also send the attack value. Okay, so here there are 2 conditions. So two consistency criteria are there that should be maintained here. So one is the all loyal lieutenants obey the same order. Okay, and second criteria is that if the commanding general is loyal, then every loyal lieutenant obeys the order he sends. Okay, so these are 2 consistency criteria, we can say, that the solution should follow. Okay, so regardless of whether the commander is traitor, this condition one, this condition criteria 1 or the condition 1, we can say, it can be satisfied as long as every loyal lieutenant receives the same order. Okay. Okay, so here if the commander is loyal, then this criteria 1 follows from the criteria 2. Okay, so it will be satisfied here. Now consensus with the oral messages. So we have already discussed about some oral messages are there that can be forged by the faulty processors. So the solution of this problem depends on the model of the communication. So that's why we have discussed 2 types of messages. One is the oral message and another is the signed message. So it depends on the model of the message communication. So here if we are using the oral message model, so it should satisfy the following 3 conditions. So these conditions are that every message that is sent is delivered correctly. Okay, so it means the messages are not corrupted in transit. So either this is the oral message, but it cannot be it means it cannot be forged into the transit, but it can be corrupted at the site of faulty nodes, we can say. Okay, so here every message that is sent is delivered correctly and the receiver of the message knows who sent it. Then third condition is that the absence of a message can be detected here. So whenever a message is received, the receiver knows the identity of the sender, and if the message lost, so they can detect that the message is lost here. Okay. So these are the three conditions that should be follow in the oral message model. Okay. Then we have some impossibility of results here, that if the journals can send only oral messages, then no solution will work unless more than 2/3 of the journals are loyal. So we have already said that whenever we will deal this problem and when we discuss the solution of this problem, so we can know that suppose if n number of processor n number of nodes are there, so up to how many numbers of faulty nodes the system can survive. Okay. So here, if the oral messages, if the journals can send the only oral messages, okay, so then no solution will work unless more than 2/3 of the journals are loyal. So with only 3 journals, no solution can work in the presence of a single cater. So how this you can see here, the first case is there. The first case is that in which we are assuming that the lieutenant here is the faulty node, or it is the basically sending some malicious information here. Okay. So we have 2 types of cases in which one, the commander may be faulty, or the lieutenant may be faulty here. So this is the first case. So suppose the commander is giving the same message to all its lieutenants. Okay, here. So commander, so generals are in the 2 roles. One is commander and another is the lieutenant. So commander, whenever they are sending some commands, so they are in the commander role, and whenever they are receiving the message from the general, so they are in the lieutenant role. So so one general may be in either of these 2 roles. So suppose when the general is commander is in the commander role, or it is sending the information that this commander wants to attack on the enemy. Okay, so the commander is sending the message attack to both of its lieutenant, because we are considering only 3 generals are there in this case here. So now lieutenant 1 and lieutenant 2 will get this information that the commander wants to attack. Okay. Now if this lieutenant 2 is suppose traitor here. Okay. So it may send the different information to the lieutenant 1. So either he has received the attack message, but he is sending the retreat message to the lieutenant 1. So here lieutenant 1 will receive the attack from the commander and retreat from the we can say from the lieutenant 2. Okay. So here you can see it has 2 values. Lieutenant 1 has 2 values. One is the attack and another is the retreat. Okay. So and whenever we talk about this lieutenant 2, it is the traitor. So it doesn't bother about that whether the lieutenant 1 is sending which information. Okay, because he is not intended to do that. He is not intended to that thing that the commander wants here. So here we are talking about the non-faulty nodes, we can say here. So here lieutenant 1 receives 2 information. One is the retreat and another is the attack. So how the lieutenant 1 will decide that which commands or which input it has to respond. Okay. So here if you go on the conditions that we have discussed here. So first condition was that all loyal lieutenants obey the same order. Okay. And the second condition is that if the commanding general is loyal, then every loyal lieutenant obeys the order he sends. Okay. So here you can see that condition 2 is satisfied. So lieutenant 1 must obey the order to attack, because in the condition 2, the condition 2 is that if the commanding general is loyal. So here the commanding general is it is sending the information attack here. So if it is if the commanding general is loyal, then every loyal lieutenant obeys the order he sends. So in that case, so Lieutenant 1 must obey the order to attack here. Okay. So now assume the second condition. So second condition is that the left commander is here traitor. So suppose a commander is traitor, so it is sending two values here. One is attack and another is retreat. So it is sending one information, one attack to the Lieutenant 1 and retreat to the Lieutenant 2. Okay. So here Lieutenant 1 does not know who the traitor is, and he cannot tell what message the commander actually sent to Lieutenant 2. Okay. So the scenarios in these two pictures exactly the same to Lieutenant 1 as in this picture and in this picture. So if the traitor lies consistently, then there is no way for Lieutenant 1 to distinguish between these two situations. So he must obey the attack order in both of them. Okay. So if we replace the values of this attack and retreat to 0 and 1. Okay. So here the lieutenant will receive the value as attack and retreat in the previous example. So it has the value 1 we can say from the commander and 0 from the retreat. Okay. And then it has the value that is Lieutenant 2 has the value attack, and Lieutenant 1 will send the value to the Lieutenant 2 also. So it has received the attack, so it will send the attack message here. So if we convert these values to 0 and 1, so it will be easy to understand that how much values they have. Either they have to attack or they have to retreat here. Okay. But in either case, they have to fulfill the both conditions that we have discussed, either condition 1 and the condition 2 as well here. Okay. So here no solution exists for three generals that work in the presence of single traitor, you can see. So here because Lieutenant 1 is getting the information 1 attack here, and it is getting the information retreat here. So it is not able to decide. Okay. And here also it is getting one information attack from the commander and one information retreat from the Lieutenant 2. So it is not able to decide. It is that which decision the Lieutenant 1 should follow. So here the condition is violating. Okay. So the condition 1 is that all loyal lieutenants obey the same order. Okay. So because they are violating the condition, so here because the presence of the single traitor, it is not possible to come to the solution here. So now Lamport, Sostek, please given one solution for this problem. So they have designed two algorithms. One is the oral message algorithm, and another is the signed message algorithm. For that purpose, so they can they solve the problem for 3m+1 or more commanders in the presence of at most m traitors. Okay. So the algorithm assumes a function here also, that is majority function, with the property that if majority of the values vi equal v, then majority vi up to vn minus 1 equals to v. So one function they are using in that algorithm, oral message algorithm. So here, they are giving the solution that if in the problem if they have 3m+1 or more commanders, so it has the solution in that case if it has at most m traitors are there. Okay. So now about what the algorithm says, if so in the case of m is equal to 0, here M is we are assuming as the faulty nodes or the traitors here. Okay, so if there is no any traitor is there, so it means the commander sends his value to every lieutenant. So this is the first step, that the commander sends his value to the every lieutenant. Then each lieutenant uses the value he receives from the commander or uses the value retrieved if he receives no value. So if there is no any traitor, there is no any requirement of the consensus, because they have to agree on the command that the commander is giving to the lieutenants. Okay, so it means so here if lieutenants are receiving the inputs from the commander, so they have to follow that information, follow that order, and if they are not getting any value, so by default they are assuming to retrieve. Okay, now if we have some faulty nodes or some traitors are there into the network, so first step is that the commander sends his value to every lieutenant. That is the basic step here. Then in the second step, that for each I, let Vi be the value Lieutenant I receives from the commander. Okay, so commander basically have sent some value to every lieutenant. So suppose that value is received by the Lieutenant I, and let Vi be the value Lieutenant I receives from the commander. So here, or else we retrieve if receives no value. That was also the case in the previous algorithm. So here algorithm the Lieutenant I acts as the commander in algorithm OM of M-1, because whenever it will receive the information from the commander, it has to send that information to their lieutenant. Okay, so in that case they will execute this algorithm OM M-1 to send the value Vi to each of the N-2 other lieutenants. Okay, so this is the main concept, that whenever the commander has to send the information to the lieutenant, they will send some value to every lieutenant. Okay, same value to every lieutenant if the commander is non-faulty. So after receiving the value from the commander, the lieutenant maintains that value in the form of Vi. Okay, so here, and they will also execute that same algorithm, that they will send that information to their lieutenants. Okay, so here for each I and each j is not equal to I, let Vj be the value Lieutenant I received from Lieutenant J in step 2 that you have sent here. Okay, so using this algorithm OM-1, or else retrieve if he received no such value. Okay, so if it is not receiving any value, by default it is assumed that they have not to attack. Okay, so then Lieutenant I uses the value majority Vi up to Vn-1. So from this function they have to decide whether that which value they have to use here. Okay, so now we can understand by this example. Suppose we are considering the case where M is equal to 1 and N is equal to 4. M is equal to 1 means we have one traitor and we have total 4 generals are there. The commander sends the value V. So this is the commander. So it is sending the value V to all his lieutenants. Okay, and suppose this Lieutenant 3 is a traitor here. So because the commander is loyal, okay, and it is non-faulty, and it is sending the same value V to all his lieutenants. So here Lieutenant 1, Lieutenant 2, Lieutenant 3 all will receive the same value V here. So whenever they will receive this value here, so on the next step, that so the first step of the commander sends his value to every lieutenant. So this was the first step, that the value V is sent to every lieutenant. Then in the second step, for each V, let Vi be the value Lieutenant I receives from the commander. Okay, so here Lieutenant 1, Lieutenant 2, Lieutenant 3 all will maintain the value that they will receive from all their we can say generals, okay, or the commanders. So here, because it follows the peer-to-peer network, So all the so here we have shown only one scenario, but in the real, Lieutenant 1 is related. We can say connected with Commander 1, and they can send message to Lieutenant 2, and Lieutenant 1 will also send the message to Lieutenant 3 as well here. So here we are talking about only for Lieutenant 2. So the case about the Lieutenant 2 will be the similar as the Lieutenant 1 and Lieutenant 3. So in the second step, the Lieutenant 2 will receive the value from Lieutenant 1 and from the Lieutenant 3 here. So the similar case from the for the Lieutenant 1 and Lieutenant 3 said that they will receive one value from in the step 2 from Lieutenant 2 and Lieutenant 3, and the Lieutenant 3 will also receive one value from Lieutenant 2 and Lieutenant 1 in step 2. Okay, so so here you can see that if you talk about this Lieutenant 2, it will receive the value V. It has received the value V from Commander, and it will receive the Lieutenant value V from Lieutenant 1, and it is receiving the value X from the Lieutenant 3. Okay, so it has three values. One is V, another is V, and third is X. Okay, so if you see here in this algorithm, so after executing the step 2, so they have to select one value by using this majority function. So by using this majority function, the Lieutenant 2 have two values of this V and one value of this X. So it will select the value V. Okay, so it means if this value V is attacked, so Lieutenant 2 will agree on the attack. So in the similar cases here, for the Lieutenant 1 has received the value V from Commander, and because Lieutenant 2 is also non-faulty, so it will send the value V to the Lieutenant 1. So it will receive two values of V from, one is from Commander and another is from Lieutenant 2. And Lieutenant 3 may send value X or may send value V to the Lieutenant 1. So by using majority function in the step 3, it will have a value V as a majority. So it will also agree to attack. Okay, but the Lieutenant 3 is faulty or the traitor, so it depends on him whether it is attacking or not. So here the condition is that if the lieutenants are loyal, okay, so they have to obey it means we can say it has to obey the order that they have received from the commander. Okay, so it means all loyal lieutenants obey the same order that has received from the commander. Okay, so here we are saying the commanding general is loyal, so every loyal lieutenant obeys the order he sends. So here you can see Lieutenant 1 and Lieutenant 2 will obey the order given by the commander here. So now consider the next case in which the commander may be the traitor. So if the commander is traitor, so it may send the different values to all the other nodes, all the lieutenants we can say here. So here it is sending X, Y, and Z to the Lieutenant 1, 2, and 3. So in the first step, the commander has sent the information, sent the values to the lieutenant. In the second step, the Lieutenant 1, 2, and 3 will execute the second step, and they will receive the values. So if we talk about the Lieutenant 1, it will receive the value Y from the Lieutenant 2 and receive the value Z from the Lieutenant 3. So it will have X, Y, Z 3 values. And in case of Lieutenant 2, it will also have 3 values, X, Y, and Z. And Lieutenant 3 will also have 3 values, X, Y, and Z. So in the case of here, they have to select one value from the majority. Okay. So here all values are equal. You can see here all values are equal here. So they will not come on some conclusion here. So here we can say that for any M and K algorithm, this algorithm that we are discussing, oral message algorithm, satisfies only condition 2. If there are more than 2K plus M journals and at most K traders are there. Okay. Now we have another solution by using the signed message. Okay. So the signed message that we have already told about that the signed message is that in which the it cannot be it means it cannot be changed into the communication medium. So here the communication model of signed message satisfies all the conditions of the model of the oral message that we have discussed here. So the conditions of the oral message model was that the message cannot be corrupted in the transit, and the message cannot be lost. If it is lost, then it can be detected that it is lost. And the third condition was that if the message is received, the receiver knows the identity of the sender. So apart from these three conditions, we have two extra conditions that a loyal general signature cannot be forged, and any alteration of the contents of his signed messages can be detected, and anyone can verify the authenticity of general's signature here. Okay, so these are two extra conditions that has to be fulfilled when we are dealing with this communication model of signed messages. Okay, so here this algorithm will defined as a signed message algorithm, SM of M, where M is the number of letters. Then the commander sends a signed order to each of his lieutenants, and each lieutenant then adds his signature to that order and sends it to the other lieutenant who had their signature, who will add their signature and send it to others, and so on. So this means that a lieutenant must effectively receive one signed message, make several copies of it, and sign it and send those copies to the other lieutenants. Okay. So it does not matter how these copies are obtained. A single message might be photocopied, or it might be some in another form. Or it must be identical with the previous one, okay, which are signed and distributed by their commander. So it may be any form, okay, but it should be it should make it should sign that copies, and it should distribute that copies to all their lieutenants. Okay, so this is the concept of this algorithm. So here this algorithm is using a choice function, as like previous algorithm were using the majority function. It is using the choice function, so which is applied to a set of orders to obtain a single one. So if the set V consists of a single element V, then choice of V is equal to V, we can say here. Then choice, if there is no anything is there, empty set is there, so it will be retrieved. So here one possible definition is to let choice V be the median element of V, and assuming that there is an ordering of the elements. Okay, so this is the algorithm for the signed message, that initially we have Vi is equal to 5 here, or 0. Then the commander signs and sends his value to every lieutenant. So this was the same step as the as the oral message step, but the here commander is signing the message. Okay, so here the commander will sign the message and sends his value to the every lieutenant. Then for each I, if lieutenant I receives a message of the form V column 0, okay, so from the commander, and he has not yet received any order, then he lets Vi equal V. And if lieutenant I receives a message of the form this V column 0 column J1 up to Jk, and V is not in the set Vi, then he adds V to Vi. And if K is less than M, then he sends the message, this message, to every lieutenant other than Ji to Jk. And for each I, when lieutenant I will receive no more messages, he obeys the order choice Vi. So here, if we are denoting the message as like suppose X colon I, as like here we have denoted v colon 0. So it means value x is signed by general I. If x colon I is there, so it means value x signed by general I. So if we are writing, suppose v colon j colon I, it means value v signed by j, signed by j general, and that value is signed by I. So that is the meaning of this form of message that is written here. So this is the signed message algorithm. So in which the commander has to send the message with its sign. Okay, and now we will discuss some concept about the Paxos algorithm. So we also have some more distributed algorithm that we use in the blockchain technology, that is Paxos algorithm and Raft consensus algorithm. So Paxos algorithm is basically suggested by the Leslie Lamport, and it is for implementing fault-tolerant consensus, and it runs on a completely connected network of n sites and tolerates up to m failures, where n is greater than or equal to 2m plus 1. Okay. So, and it solves the consensus problem in the presence of faults on an asynchronous systems of sites. So here it guarantees agreement and validity, not termination. As we have discussed, three conditions that the consensus algorithm has to satisfy. That one is the termination, then then another is the agreement, then third one is the validity. So in the termination, every non-faulty node must eventually decide, and in the agreement, the final decision of every non-faulty node must be identical. And in the validity, if every non-faulty node begins the same initial value, suppose it is v, then their final decision must be that value v. So here in the Paxos consensus algorithm, it guarantees the agreement and the validity, but it does not guarantee the termination here. Okay. So here the site or the node in the blockchain system, it must be in the three different roles. One is the proposer, then it may be in the role of acceptor, and it may be in the role of learner here. Okay. So the proposer will basically it proposes the value from the client. Okay. And acceptor will basically accept the candidate values, and the learner will basically reflect the decision that is taken by the system to the client. Okay, so these are basically three roles that is performed by the node here. Then we have three phases. One is the preparatory phase, another is the request for acceptance of the input value, and then next one is the final decision phase. Okay, so here whenever the proposer submit the values on the behalf of clients, acceptor has to decide the candidate values for the final decision. Okay, and the learner collects these information from the acceptors and report the final decision back to the client. Okay, so here whenever the proposal will propose the value, or it will send the value, it will be in the form of pair. Suppose it is in the form of v comma n. Okay, and suppose we are assuming that v is a value and n is a sequence number. Okay, so n is a sequence number that is used to distinguish between the successive attempts to invoke this algorithm here. Okay, so if there is only one acceptor that decides which value will be chosen as the consensus value, then it will be too simplistic. So here in the preparatory phase, each proposer the node that is in the proposer role, so it will send the proposal that contains the v and e to each acceptor. Okay, and then after, so here if so here that the value of n is sending by the proposer, that should be the largest sequence number. Okay, so here the acceptor will receive the proposal that is sent by the proposer, and then it sends an acknowledgement to the proposer that it has received the value, and it is a promise that it will ignore all the proposals numbered lower than that value n. Okay, so in the first step, in the preparatory phase, the proposer will send the proposer node will send the proposal to the acceptor, and the acceptor will receive that proposal. And after accepting, if it is sending the acknowledgement, it means it is giving the promise to the proposer that it will not accept the proposal with the value lower than that value that is sent by that proposer. Okay, so in the request for acceptance of input value, so if the proposer receives an acknowledgement with containing that value n from a majority of the acceptors, then it sends an accept message in which it will contain v and n, okay, to all the acceptors, asking them to accept his value, okay, that value that it is accepted. So suppose if acceptor return an acknowledgement to the proposer which contains the value the n that is received by the proposer, and suppose it also contains that value n dash, okay, so it means then the proposer must include the value of v with the highest sequence number in its request to the acceptor. So in the last phase, the final decision, the acceptor accepts the proposal unless it has already promised to consider proposals with a sequence number greater than n. So this is the whole process of the Paxos consensus algorithm. So it has a limitation that it is very exceptionally difficult to understand and it is very difficult to implement. So here Ongaro has presented one simpler version for this consensus problem, that is Raft algorithm. Raft is basically replicated and fault tolerant, okay, and it is much easier to understand and implement than the Paxos. So the Raft algorithm is a leader based asymmetric model. A node in a system can be in one of three states at any point here in this, as like in the Paxos algorithm, the node can be in three states or in the three roles. So here it may be in the leader role, or it may be in the candidate role, or it may be in the follower role, okay. So here you can see here a node can be in one of these three roles: follower node, candidate, or the leader node. So replicated state machine starts. So every node, whenever this starts, so initially all the nodes are in the follower state, okay. Then whenever they want to become the leader, so they have to first go to the candidate node. So follower times out or starts an election to get elected as the leader. So whenever a follower node wants to a leader node, it has to come into the candidate node role, okay. So if no leader elected, contest algorithm contest election again, or otherwise if a leader is elected, so it will be into the leader node, okay. So the state of the node will be the leader. So the nodes that are not participating in this election process will be as the follower node, and the nodes that are in the candidate role, so if they are winning that election, so they will, so only one node will be the leader at one time. So that node will be the leader node, and all other nodes will be in the role of the candidate, and they will go to the follower node role as well, okay. So here to become a leader, a node must become a candidate and launch a round of electoral votes, okay. If the node does not receive enough votes, the node becomes a follower again, okay. So here if it is not getting such type of such number of nodes, so it will go to the follower node, okay. And if it gains majority votes, so it becomes the leader here, okay. So again, to maintain the server states, the Raft algorithm divides time into small terms of arbitrary length. Okay. So here a term number increases monotonically over time, and at most one leader can be elected in a given term. So here the time is divided into the terms, and for one term only one leader is elected. Whenever this term is expired, so another leader will be elected, okay. So the term number is maintained by every node and is passed while communications between nodes. So every term starts with an election to determine the new leader. Okay, so here this algorithm also introduces one packet, that is heartbeat packet, and the timeout concept. So to maintain its authority, so here the leader election in Raft is implemented through the heartbeat and the random timeout. So here log replication is implemented through this strong leadership, and the leader receives the client command, appends it to its log, and replicates the log to other followers. So to here maintains its authority, an elected leader must continuously send a hard packet to other nodes in the cluster. If a follower does not receive the heartbeat packet during a given election timeout, the leader is considered to have crashed, and follower changes its status to candidate and starts the leader election. Okay, so this is the concept of the leader election, how it takes place into this. Okay, then this is the example in which we have the followers are given here. So here followers have some time counts that is associated with them. So here then the one of the follower starts participating into the election process. So it requests the vote from this follower, it requests the vote from this follower, and it requests and it votes itself as well. And if these followers grant the notes to this follower, so if it gets the majority of notes, so it will become the leader here. Okay, so whenever it will become the leader, so it is the leader for that particular time term, we can say. Okay, so here the candidate node becomes the leader by receiving the majority of votes. So it is the candidate leader whenever it is in the election process. So the candidate node becomes the leader by receiving the majority of votes from the cluster node. At this point of time, it updates its status to leader and starts sending heartbeats to notify other servers of the new leader. So here the candidate node fails to receive the majority of votes in the election, and hence the term ends with no leader, and the candidate node returns to the follower state. So this is so if any other node is participating in the election, so if it is not winning that election, so it will come to the follower state again. So if the term number of the candidate node requesting the votes is less than other candidate nodes in the cluster, so here two types of RPCs that we are using. That is, one is the request votes and another is the append entries. So whenever this candidate nodes in the cluster got the less number of nodes, so this append entries RPC is rejected and the other nodes retain their candidate status. Okay, and if the term number is greater, the candidate node is elected as the new leader here. So here two types of RPCs, remote procedure calls, are basically used by this algorithm. So one is the request vote RPC, and another is the append entries RPC. So this request vote RPC is sent by the candidate nodes to gather votes during the election. Okay, that we have already told. Then append entries is used by the leader node for replicating the log entries, and also as a heartbeat mechanism to check if a server is still up. Okay, if heartbeat is responded back to the server is up as the server is down. So this is these are the arguments that is in the RPC, request vote RPC, and these are the arguments that are in the append entries RPC. So these are the implementation as given here. So next, these are the concept of followers, candidates, and leaders that we have already discussed. Then it may be in the persistent state. So each server persists the following to stable storage synchronously before responding to RPCs. So this was the Raft algorithm, Raft consensus algorithm. So it is basically easily understandable and easy to implement than Paxos, and it is tackled each decomposed subproblem independently, and a system remains operational when minority of server fails here. So it is better than the Paxos algorithm. So Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. If you have any queries for participant, to please drop up the chat box.
Okay, Ashish ji, thank you. I think there is no question from the participants.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the nice presentation.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, sir.
inviting me, sir, for this talk.
Thank you, sir.
everyone.
Thank you for imparting your knowledge to all of us. Thanks to all that listen to our guests so well. Thank you.
The next session will be started at 11:45.